My name is George Florentzos. I was born in a mountainous village on the Troodos area of Cyprus on the 17th of February in 1939. My parents, my mom is Helen. Her maiden name is Kliru. That's where Kliridis came, the Premier of Cyprus, and related to him. And my father is Panayotis. He went to Agros in 1927 and started a barber shop. And that barber shop, it was a picture. It was something that villagers never seen before, with two lots mirrors, comodina, the desks. One area where he had the water for washing after he shaved people and cut their hair. So I spent a bit of time in my father's barber shop making a few, it was piastres those days in Cyprus. And after he finished each person cutting the hair and shaving, I had a brush, and I went and brushed their shoulders, and their policemen, I grabbed their hat and brushed it and handed it to him. And by watching, I picked everything up, and then I started cutting hair to the young kids because it was number one. Yeah. Nearly all the villagers, they weren't making money. They were just to be self-sufficient, to grow what they eat and all that. Some people that they had any surplus, they sold it. And as the years went by, the grapevines and fruit and that, they took them to the city and they sold them. I had one sister and two other brothers. My oldest memories that I can remember is the first day at school. My sister was holding me by hand, and I'll never forget, my mother was a dressmaker or a seamstress. She could she could sew anything, from shorts, from trousers, from shirts, dresses. If you came to get a shirt or a dress, she used to measure from shoulder to shoulder at the back and the waist. Next thing, the scissors on a piece of paper, cutting it all up. It was all, she was really professional. She lived in the city for 7 years. I don't think she went to school at all. My father came from Limassol as a single man, and to what I can remember, his father died when he was young. His mother used to visit in summer times at the village. When I went to school and my mother was a seamstress, boys that were wearing those days, they called podia. Button at the back, pockets in the front. It looked like a little dress, and I remember that, going to school wearing that. The first 4 years at school, I remember, I was really one of the tops, and one day he talked to us about how we're going and all that, and I said the first 4 years of school, I was really good, and then I got the disease of laziness and that, but I managed pretty good that high school. I really, really loved it. I was proud. At the high school, we didn't take any school bags. We took the books that we need for the day. And I remember being so proud, holding the schools under my arm and walking. I left because here in Australia, it was 4 brothers in Dalby, and they run their business there. And one of them his name is Mel. He went to Cyprus to get married and stay there. He met my godmother and they got married, but things didn't turn out as he wanted them to be. So she didn't want to come to Australia because he married him because he said he'll stay at home. But towards the end, she could see that there's a bit of conflict there and with the properties. And they decided to come to Australia. And he did say to my mum, when we go there and when George finishes school, we like to more or less, just like adopting to say, to come to Australia with to us. And this is got into my head, and I always said, I'm going to go to Australia, I'm going to go to Australia. And time came that I left on the 11th of February 1956. When I came to Australia, it wasn't many flights or railways running those days, so I debarked in Melbourne, and I had to stay there for 3 days. My godfather found some cousin of his in Melbourne to take me from the boat and leave me there and then put me onto a plane or train, whatever. And I remember I stayed 3 days there. Eventually he put me onto a plane and I arrived to Brisbane. There he had nephews, my godfather, and they picked me up. I had my first milkshake in Australia because he had a milk bar. I stayed there two or 3 days too before they can put me onto the train to go up to Toowoomba. That was in 1956. When I came, everyone was talking about the Melbourne Olympic Games. I went to Dolby, as I said, and the very next day my godfather took me to the shop. And the shop, it was a big grocery store those days because it wasn't any supermarkets or any shopping complexes or anything, but it was a fairly sized shop. And I can say that one side was the deli, continue with groceries, and in the middle again it was gondolas with groceries with an open space in the middle. All the fruit came in there. I remember we used to get the tomatoes green as grass because they used to come from a long time away. And as they started to shine or get ripe, I used to separate them. The stuff was coming from, I remember, Stanton Brothers in the Brisbane markets for years. We used to buy a lot of stuff. My godfather was in charge of the fruit on the other wall. Fruit and vegetables, milk bar, and I worked, the 3 years I stayed up there, I worked in the fruit and the milk bar. Mine or no sent me to a night school because I think when they got my visa, they put on that I was coming to study in university, but it didn't happen. But he sent me to a night school, and I've done accounting A, accounting B, and the third year I started to do auditing, but I left and started my own business, and that was it. And we went to Oki, and we bought the Cecil Cafe. And we bought, I think we had to buy, I put my money in his, and we were still a few $1,000s short. After what the bank gave us, we were still a little bit short. And the man said, because he was determined to go, he didn't spend 3 years in Oki, he wanted to get out. And he said to me, because of you, because I know you can serve, you can run a business, and he's a good cook, you're gonna do well. So you owe that money to me. It was on the 14th of August, 1956. 59 that took over the cafe. Young, energetic, teenagers. So we used to open at 8:30, 7 o'clock, the doors were open. I remember the first week we took 360 pounds, I think, those. And then really, as I said, we went with the energy and that into it, and the business was really started to thrive. And that every afternoon on the 4AK station, there used to be a program called Teenagers Hit Parade. We had a wireless in there I think it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Turn the thing up. And all the teenagers from school and from high school and everywhere with their boyfriends filling the cafe up every afternoon. After 40 months of really, really pushing the business and doing really, really good, he come to me and he says, from now on, he said, you're the cook one week and I'm outside, and the other week we take turns. Who is the cook and who is outside? I looked at him and said, he couldn't speak English, broken English. And I thought, how is he going to run the front? I couldn't cook a steak. But that's how it went. Didn't know what to do there. And so I took a solicitor's advice. I knew a solicitor there in town. I went to him and he said to me, George, he said, 2 questions. One of them, can you pay? If he says he buy you out, you got to go. If he can't, he's got to go, whether he wants to or not. And this is what happened. I found my godfather, and he said, yes, he said, I'll give you It wasn't a great lot, $1.5 something. My wife is Joanna. Her maiden name is called Viz. We got married in 1962 in St. George in Brisbane. Nick was born in 1964. Helen was born 1967, and Peter 1970. Helen's got 2, Nick had 1, and not long between the marriage of Nick and Peter, and Peter's got 2 girls. We went to Cyprus, if it's not 7, it's 8 times in our life. We took the kids when they were, I think the first time we went, I was in Australia for 17 years. I was 34 the first time we went back. And since then, we've been going every 4 years, 5 years. I don't drive there because the first time I drove, my brother left a van there for me. And I took it, and the way people drive over there and the roads up in the mountains and all that, too dangerous for me. So I got scared then. I never touched a car in Cyprus. We came to Australia for a reason, for a better life. Definitely, we worked hard. We worked hard, pretty hard, but at least it paid off. It's been a happy life, because that's what we came to do and that's what we did. One thing that I regret is as the children grow up, tied up in the businesses for so long, we haven't enjoyed our children as much as we should. They've been the joy of our life. They have been the joy of our life. The grandchildren, yeah. I can look back, my life there, my life in Australia, we are a generation that we lived poorly. We lived in an area where each family had their goats, their donkey, which that was their way of their living. We lived in two words. Our children, the life we lived is what our grandparents and parents lived. And our children, they missed all that, they didn't see it. But we've seen it, and we've seen the changes as well. That's one thing that I can say about coming into two countries, living into two countries.